I've mentioned recently how hard it is to write for comedy, to convey a humorous scene purely using audio as opposed to, having physical actors use their bodies in order to do so. Sort of what I'm doing right now. But there are multiple parts of my writing which I'm 100% cert will be funny. I know this sounds so uni-professory of me, I guess, but when I'm writing, it's so important to have a vision for what you're actually detailing. To me, it's a vital key to have an almost second-by-second understanding of how I want my characters to move, react, and interact, at least in backstage segments. I know a scene will actually be good when I get up out of my chair and actually start acting it out, being one character and then switching to the next. This allows me to process my body movements, facial reactions, and general emotion of how I'm speaking as said character. Although that was a bit of a sidetrack, my point is, this is why I love writing for my Luchador team of El Fuego. Ricardo Cinxia and Hernando Listio are the upbeat, high-flying Mexican sensations that have owned the tag team division for quite some time now. Only recently have the tag team title strayed away from them after holding the gold for almost roughly a year. Now, a long title reign or simply being placed constantly in high caliber situations and positions may actually end up biting me, the writer and the booker, in the ass. I regularly have arguments with myself about, if it was reality, what if this person was being pushed down people's throats too much? Or maybe this character wouldn't be as over as I actually thought. And I guess the problem here is that because it's not real, because all of this is make-believe, I guess we'll never know. However, from those who have listened to the episodes, they have told me and given me some sort of feedback back saying that, the people that they're supposed to like, they actually like, which is a good thing. Anyway, look, I'm going on a rant again, but my point is, El Fuego are members of my roster and my show that I don't think have gotten stale or boring despite their constant appearances, especially in a top scale situation. And I think a big reason as to why that is because every now and then I've provided something different and unique for El Fuego to be involved in on my shows. El Fuego stayed quiet throughout the first year of Impetus or so when winning the titles, their confidence grew and so did their humor. The two are just silly, not understanding the insults from Hills because of their convenient broken English, for example, or literally shitting themselves when finding out that they'd be facing the demonic Scar and Susan. But I think what has extended El Fuego's entertainment value is the firewall segment, using the arena screen as a virtual wheel, sort of like the, that old-fashioned draft lottery in WWE. Listio and Cinxia used a highly technological computer, hence the firewall, as a way to find out their next challenges for the gold. The only thing is, it's crap. Listio constantly messes with the wheel and he uses it to prank and poke fun at different teams, sometimes teams that don't even exist. For example, with the brothers of Wazzy D and Corruption disbanding months ago, the firewall landed on the broken team called Dirty Cash, causing awkward silence from the El Fuego members. They also use the firewall segments in alternative ways than just creating their next challenger. For example, they use the wheel to find out who likes playing with My Little Ponies, all the way to asking which member of a certain team has the biggest balls. And seeing as that team was Matar Ilamas, it lands on Jillian Day. The firewall has been a great segment and gimmick to use, especially when the show seems like it needs a lift of energy, perhaps after a brutal attack or a general just serious segment. However, doing it for a while and with El Fuego no longer the champions, I feel like the time is right now to do something a little bit different. Let's leave the firewall for a bit. Let's leave it alone for a while and have the audience miss it, and in turn miss El Fuego being the champions. So, what's next? Well, on episode 120, I showcased a new segment for El Fuego to participate in. They call it the Flame Off. Now essentially, I use an entire segment to showcase two teams' flipping ability, as El Fuego and a competing team trade sick moves and dives back and forth, with the audience deciding who had the better performance. It's basically Cirque du Soleil, but for wrestling. Now the positives to this is that it's crowd engaging, it's fun, it's energetic, and for the love of God, it's something different, which is sorely needed in wrestling nowadays. You can also create certain stories from it. Thus far, I've only written one flame-off segment to where Matar Ilamas, the competing team, bitched out of doing a move and instead attacked El Fuego. Now the negatives to this is that the acrobatic performances could actually take away from the following matches. Hitting a 360 Indie McTwisty splash in the flame-off segment would probably take away from the future suicide dive that takes place in the main event, for example. Placing the Flame Off on the card would have to be considered carefully, as something like this could make a huge impact and change to the show's flow and energy. But apart from that, I don't really see anything wrong with it. Unless it's just crap in general and it's a stupid idea. But I thought of it, so it can't possibly be. Hopefully you guys can envision the Flame Off and can understand the satisfaction I've had in moving forward with the tag team known as El Fuego. It's very easy to do something interesting for a character because it's a good idea and then provide absolutely nothing for them afterwards. I mean, look at the Kipton Lynch character, for example. I literally did a video about this unique and amazing, different, never before done return, but I haven't really expanded upon it, mainly because it's hard to find time to put him in my shows. But again, off track, I haven't had this problem with El Fuego. I feel like I've made them regularly entertaining and interesting to pay attention to by adding to their unique segments and overall character. Now, I'm not too sure how long I'll continue the Flame Off segments, but for now, I'm liking it. And I'm hoping all of you are too. And I'm hoping all of you are entertained by what you hear about El Fuego. But until then, I'm going to continue to do these Flame Offs every now and then, sprinkle them in the episodes, and again, just keep writing entertaining things for Listio and Cinxia to do.